Okay, we'll look at some of the homework problems that are in section 6.3. Let's start with problem number 1. We have 7/12 times 3/14, and we want to multiply and write the answer in its simplest form. Well, in this case here, you can multiply numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. But let's do this. Let's go ahead and do some cross cancellation with some of these numbers here, like the 3 and the 12. 3 goes into itself one time, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. And for 7 and the 14, 7 goes into itself one time, and 7 goes into 14 2 times. So now the numerator will be 1 times 1, which is 1, over 4 times 2, which is 8. So here, 1/8 in simplest form would be the solution to 7/12 times 3 over 14. All right, number 2 is to find the multiplicative inverse. In other words, we want to find the reciprocal of 9 4/5 in this particular problem. Well, anytime we have a mixed number, we want to find the reciprocal, we need to change that mixed number to an improper fraction. So in this case here, for 9 4/5, if we want to change that to an improper fraction, we do 5 times 9, that's the denominator, times the whole number, add the numerator. 5 times 9, that's 45. 45 plus 4 would be 49 over 5. So it'll be 49/5. Now the reciprocal, we just invert the numerator and the denominator, so the 5 will be on top and 49 will be on the bottom. So in this case here, 5/49 represents the multiplicative inverse or the reciprocal of 9 4/5. So you first change to an improper fraction and then take its reciprocal of that improper fraction. All right, number 3, solve by using the multiplication principle. In this case here, we got 4/5 m is equal to negative 3/7. And we want to solve this equation for m. And we're going to use the multiplication principle here. Here where m is being multiplied by 4/5. We normally would divide both sides by 4/5, but it'll be easier to multiply both sides of this equation by the reciprocal of 4 over 5, which is 5/4. So I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by 5/4. That way, these 4's will be gone and the 5 will be gone. I'm left with m. On the right side of the equation, I'll do negative 3 times 5, that's negative 15, over 7 times 4, which is 28. So in this case, m is equal to negative 15 over 28 would be your solution. And all you do there is just type in this case, negative 15 over 18 over 28 as your answer. Okay, problem number 4. You want to perform the calculations and reduce your answer wherever possible. In this case, we got 10 times 3 2/5. I'll rewrite it again. In this case here, that 10 is a whole number. I'll put that whole number over 1. So it'll be 10 over 1 times 3 2/5 as a improper fraction. 5 times 3, that's 15. 15 plus 2 is 17. So that'll be 17 over 5 times 10 over 1. Now here I can do some cross cancellation here with the 5 and the 10. 5 goes into itself one time. 5 goes into 10 2 times. So if I do 2 times 17, that's 34, over 1 times 1, which is 1. And 34 over 1 would simply be 34. So 10 times 3 2/5 would simply be 34. Okay, problem number 5 is just estimating 4 and 4/9 times 1 and 2/3. Now, we're not finding the exact answer. We're just simply coming up with a estimate for this answer. 4 and 4/9, I'm going to estimate to 4. 1 and 2/3, that's close to 2, so I'll use 2. Now, if I multiply 4 times 2, that's going to give me 8. So here, an estimate for 4 and 4/9 times 1 and 2/3 would simply be 8. All right, problem number 6. Here we have Paloma University had a faculty reduction and lost 1/10 of its faculty. If 198 of its faculty were left after the reduction, how many faculty were there originally? Okay, in this particular case here, we're trying to find out the original number of the faculty. I'm going to let X be the original number of faculty members that were there. Now, they had a reduction and lost 1/10 of its faculty, so that means to set that problem up, if X is going to be the original number, there was a reduction, so we lost minus 1/10 X. That's 1/10 of its original faculty members. Minus the original faculty members would give us 198. That's how we'll set up that particular problem. And if we lost 1/10 of the whole faculty, that means there are 9/10 left. You have to think of 1 whole minus 1/10. That's 9/10. X equals to 198. Now, let's solve this equation by multiplying both sides by 10 over 9. That's a reciprocal of 9/10, by the way. So X is equal to, and if you simplify 198 times 10 over 9, you're going to get 220. So that means the number of original number of faculty at Paloma University was 220. So that's how you'll answer that question. The original number of faculty was 220. And that's how you will particularly set up that particular problem. Okay, problem number 7. Al saves pennies. He agrees to give 5/9 of his pennies to Bev if she would give 5/9 of what she got from Al to Carl, and if Carl, in turn, would give 5/9 of what he got from Bev to Danny. Bev, Carl, and Danny agreed, and Danny received 1,500 pennies. How many pennies did Al have initially? Okay, let's work this. We're going to have to work backwards on this particular problem. This is one of those problem-solving strategies that we have for this problem. Here, Danny received 1,500 pennies. Now, this is going to have to be a division problem because in this case here, Carl gave 5/9 of what he got from Bev to Danny. So we're going to have to do 1,500 divided by 5/9, or 1,500 over 1 times 9 over 5. And in this case here, 5 goes into itself 1 time, 5 goes into 500, 1,500 300 times. 300 times 900, that's 2,700. So in this case, Carl got 2,700 pennies. Okay, now let's work this a little bit more. This will also have to be divided by 5/9 because in this case, Bev gave 5/9 of what she got from Al to Carl. So now we have to do 2,700 divided by 5/9, or 2,700 over 1 times 9/5. And of course, 2,700 divided by 5. That's going to go 540. Then 540 times 9 is 4,860. So Bev has 4,860 pennies. But that represents 5/9 of what Al gave her. So we need to divide 4,860 by 9. Okay, so now we can work this one at the bottom of this sheet. 4,860 divided by 5/9, which will be 4,860 over 1 times its reciprocal of 9/5. Okay, 5 goes into self one time. 5 goes into 4,860, 972. Then 972 times 9. That's 8,748. So Al originally had 8,748 pennies. So Al had 8,748 pennies. So here we had to work backwards by dividing the 1,500 by 5/9, which gave us 2,700. Then 2,700 divided by 5/9, which gave us the 4,860. And then the 4,860 divided by 5/9, which gave us the 8,748. Okay, now problem number 8. Multiply and simplify 2 squared times 2 squared. Now this dealt with the notion of exponents when we're multiplying powers of the same base. That means we need to add the exponents here. So the bases are the same, so we bring over the base, which is 2, and add those exponents. In this case, 2 plus 2 will be 4. So in this case here, now when we simplify, we're just going to type in the exponential notation with positive exponents. So 2 to the second times 2 to the second would just simply be 2 to the 4th. And finally, number 9. A sporting goods manufacturer requires 5/3 yards of fabric to make a pair of soccer shorts. How many shorts can be made from 40 yards of fabric? So here, we're taking 40 yards, and we're going to divide that by 5/3 to find out how many shorts can be made from 40 yards of fabric. Okay, so now you got 40 over 1 times the reciprocal of 5/3. That's 3/5. Now we can do some cross cancellation or cross dividing. 5 goes into itself 1 times, 5 goes into 40 8 times. So now you just got 8 times 3. That's 24. So here, 40 yards of material will make 24 soccer shorts. Okay, that should be enough to assist you with some of the problems that are on the MyMathLab.